just there's like some guys, and some of them are high profile. I won't name any names or any like top of the chart pop artists, but
Mhm.
some of these guys on our team are, I hate to say it, but they're kind of sandwich grabbers. But
Wait, what is that? What is? I
What's
haven't
that?
heard that
Yeah,
so,
one.
yeah,
clarify
so
that.
like you have a team, right? So like for us, which shout out to the Ensworth Tigers, we're 8-0, and we got a
Woo!
lot of we're number 2 in the state, Tennessee, and we got a lot of
Oh shoot!
big time
Congrats.
players. But like then there's also some guys on the team who are like they're there, but I don't know if they're all the way in. But if we
Right.
when we hand out sandwiches,
They're just there for
game
the
days with like
sandwich.
turkey with bacon, like they're gonna grab like 2 sandwiches, which is fine.
So
It's
they call them
Not
it's like
sandwich
it's
grabbers.
not kind of sandwich grabber, but in the
no
middle they
wait, not just like not contributing, but taking 2 sandwiches.
Wait, should they be just taking one then,
it's
ideally,
like
because they're not
it's
contributing?
yeah, exactly.
Kick off to the game now. Darin and Johnny here, wow. Talking NFL, no doubt. Breakdowns and the standout. Big plays and the touchdowns. Huddled in the background. Each week we break it down. Our podcast is the town.
All right, so
Recap on the run.
Go.
we've got Nick, aka the underdog, aka the Reaper.
How many names you got? It was show me them TDs, and I see you got a new name here, huh? Shifted, I guess.
I mean,
Reaper,
it's
yeah.
sometimes you get into the year, and as a team, like you just feel this like shift in culture, right? And so like just being indicative of that and representing what we're trying to do as a team, it was a rough start. I'm not gonna lie. In the first half, I'm not gonna lie, they had us. But we decided to go with change things up a little bit.
Take this.
And we're 1-0 like within the last week, and so we're
Yeah.
excited.
You fired your head coach, got a new team name, and
Yeah,
look at that.
just I mean, it's tough decisions, right? It's
Yeah.
it's a numbers game, right? It's not personal. It's just kind of the direction we were going in, and we just had to make decisions.
Well,
So
it's funny
Business
because
decision.
out of all of us, actually, cleats on the gridiron, Nick has the most time for sure.
yeah,
Yet,
That's why it wasn't adding up for me. As I kept
Yeah.
saying that. I just don't know what. I know last year you kind of maybe didn't draft that well, I guess, but this year you drafted
Yeah.
definitely way better for sure, and it just hasn't. The Christian McCaffrey pick
Yeah.
definitely bit you in the ass, but the rest of them, yeah.
well,
no,
I mean that was a tough one. It's like your first overall, so because you had the first pick overall,
mhm.
so then
Yeah.
you're not picking. It was snake draft, so then you're not picking till like number 20 or something,
Correct.
So
yeah.
it's like you
Right.
pick one guy, now you're on to like the 21st best player. So
Yeah.
kind of.
And then you haven't gotten anything from that number one guy, so yeah, that makes sense actually, Darin. You're right. Yeah, because your team's kind of mainly comprised
I
of
think
20 and below.
I think pick obviously one CMC. I think pick 20 and 21 because
You
I
went Devontae Adams, I think, for your second pick.
yeah, and Travis
which
Kelsey maybe.
Devontae Adams. They just can't
Oh.
get that squad together. Then he got traded, and then you went Kelsey,
Yeah.
your third pick.
Which
Yeah.
hindsight,
Which was
you
a
probably
little
should have
bit
been more of like a
high.
6th rounder or
I
something like
know.
that. Yeah,
And the
Yeah.
fact that Kelsey is, it's a mediocre year at best for him. So
What's
far.
mediocre for tight ends? I mean,
Yeah.
who's consistently good at tight end this
that's
year?
true.
But
Yeah,
I
it's
feel like that's
Brock
how it
Bowers,
typically goes.
Yeah.
and there's been maybe one or two other guys, but
Yeah, Brock
know
Bowers
Bowers.
is having a year for sure. That's
yeah, we'll have to look at the teams as you're right though about the tight end.
So how much
Yeah.
of this is to blame on Nick versus just like CMC bust? Like I wonder if CMC was in, if we look at the margins that he's like potentially losing by, I wonder if, maybe that's like that reliant. I mean,
That makes up the difference.
I'm looking at Nick's scores and he's losing 138 points, 126 points, 126 points. You throw McCaffrey in there, you up that score by like 15 points probably.
Yeah.
And that equals maybe some dubs that he didn't have. So maybe it is just like that loss of that first overall pick. I would say, he probably gets one. He lost to Kevin 101 to 104 when Kevin had like two guys out. So really it's like point spreads of, 15 points or less. It's 1, 2, 3,
Yeah.
three games that he lost that, would have put him at 4 and 3 versus 1
Yeah,
and 6.
yeah. If you could just stay 500 right now, you got a shot at the playoffs
Yeah.
because this league, nobody's. I mean, Phil was what 5-0, 4-0, and then man, it's like as soon as somebody gets hot this year, it just
Yeah.
changes direction. So maybe that'll happen for you. You were cold. Maybe it'll flip back. You win your next 5 in a row or something, and then you're like right back in it.
I mean, or the next 8 in a row. I mean, just like the way
Run the
that
table.
well,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, like we're the Reaper because of an identity of like, ruin people's dreams. But that name could change. I think that there's definitely some names on the docket that are out there that we're kind of waiting on. But
he's evolving week to week.
Yeah.
I think we were in like a chat saying something about it where it's like, I mean, Nick has the potential to just scrape people out of playoffs. and then if he does go the losers bracket, if CMC's back, like he's probably not the guy who's going to be at the bottom.
It's probably not. It's probably not me. Even if I'm the 10th seed, it's probably not me. It's just that's the mentality.
It wasn't last year, right?
Exactly.
Fought your way out of it. Yeah.
Win one game. Win one game.
I see. I'm on your schedule here in 2 weeks. So that'll be interesting. Yeah, I'll have to get. We'll both be looking for a win on that one, probably.
Let's jump into what we'll do because we'll try to get through this, but we'll
do the report.
Yeah, we're gonna go the report, and then we're gonna check out the recap like we usually do, and then we're gonna go through all the games and kind of just quickly chat through, lineups and whatnot, and then at the end we're gonna do it like. I don't know, Sports Center style or college game day style, and just call the winners and losers in one condensed kind of end so that we can start seeing, how close we got to calling it. So, just looking at the report here, best manager, my team's finally starting to really get together and come together.
Oh, geez. Yeah. Just give you a platform to gloat on over here.
But in all seriousness, like this coming week, my full lineup is like healthy, no bye weeks,
Oh, you're gonna make the wrong decision. You're gonna start the wrong guy and miss out on points, and
it's a good problem to have.
Give me a win
because my bench is looking decent. But okay, so yeah, best manager, and that's like 95% is perfect. So I think that's more about like percent of starting the right guys versus like high score.
Yeah, probably was just one person that you could have swapped out or whatever to get a little higher. But so Tyler, so he could have had 120 points. Yeah, I was gonna say that too. Yeah, I think that's the lowest score I've seen. And man, he had a lot of comments after the last pod. I didn't like the malarkey that was going on here. So
he was like adamant about the fact that he was not getting credit, and then I mean, people get crap for not hitting 3 digits. This was something new here.
That's way below. I mean, that's like when an SEC team plays like a warm-up game, at the very beginning of the season. Like that's, I mean, but really, he basically scored like half of what he could have. Like that's pretty wild, right? We'll have to look at that. His bench must have been somebody on the bench must have gone off.
Biggest blowout. Yeah, Josh, he's been struggling since Tua left because it's like he had Tua and he had Tyreek, and he's just been riddled with a lot of injuries. 1-11's not bad for, kind of scrambling together, but Tua does come back next week, so, that may look different.
Mm-hmm.
Narrow victory. So this will be a big game that we dig into. Huge week for Nick. Not only did he get his first win, but I mean, Philip was ranked number 1 going into that game. So he earned the Reaper. name. We'll have to hear Nick's thoughts on that one. Okay, so high score, low score, those were pretty obvious. QBs. Oh yeah, Lamar, dude, he's been balling out. But let's jump into Amon-Ra, who I had him on my squad last year. He's like pretty consistent producer.
Well, and then I just saw, if you look at the benchmark warmer of the week, the running back was Rachaad White from Tampa Bay, and that was under Tyler. So missed out on 30 points there. Ooh. So I guess that's part of it. That's part of the story.
Do you know what's crazy? Hey.
Mark Andrews, man. Well, you're swapping tight ends like every other week, and you can't believe you ditched Freiermuth here after you paid $50 for him.
I probably paid. Yeah, I think Freiermuth between Freiermuth and Isaiah Likely, I paid a bunch of money. Mark Andrews, I probably picked up for like $10 or something, but he laid 2 eggs and then had like nominal points, and then all of a sudden Phil, of course, picks him up and he's had like 2 good weeks. But
and then you ditch Likely as well, right? He's not on your roster either.
Yeah, it's just committee.
Oh. I think you got commitment issues, Darin. Like you're not willing to have patience with somebody here, and go through a little rocky period.
People are like dumping tight ends to pick up other positions, and so I've just been like kind of incrementally climbing the ranking ladder of tight ends, and now I feel decent about my tight ends that I have here. So we'll see how that turns out. As far as consistency goes, I think Ferguson, will be good to kind of carry me forward, for Dallas, and he's consistently, doing decent weeks. So, but we'll get into that. Let's open it up. The Reaper versus Cooper Street Ballers. Nick versus Phil.
All right.
Nick, why don't you talk us through this?
Yeah. So, we are the artists formerly known as the underdogs, especially when we're looking at the week 7 report. And, not a lot of people gave us a chance. However, I just got to give a shout out to both you guys. I mean, Darin and Johnny, what an awesome podcast this has been, and a great league that you guys are running. And just the fact that, the team just really felt your guys' support and picking us and just kind of rode with it. So, yeah, we were inspired this week, the number 1 versus the number 10. Aaron Jones has got a little hammy. Happens to the best of us. Fast guys pull hammies. If you've never pulled a hammy, you're probably not very fast. And, he was active. We were questionable. We didn't know. Went with him. That was huge for me. There was definitely some reports that were coming down here from Pittsburgh about how excited Pickens was with Russ.
Yep, I heard that too. Mm-hmm.
Pickens has been a guy who, like, he has a high appetite, and he wasn't eating, and they let Russ cook, and he was all for that all the way.
That was such a good game. I was glued to that game. Yeah.
And it, like, they complement each other. Russ with the moon ball, right? Just throw it up, and he'll go get it. So that was huge for me. And then, defense, like who's playing the worst teams. I'm going to get that defense, and that worked out for me. Although, like, in the middle of our roster, just there's like some guys, and some of them are high profile. I won't name any names or any top of the chart pop artists. But some of these guys on our team are, I hate to say it, but they're kind of sandwich grabbers. But
what is that?
What's that? Yeah, clarify that.
Like, you have a team, right? So, like, for us, which shout out to the Ensworth Tigers, we're 8-0, and we got a lot of we're number 2 in the state, Tennessee, and we got a lot of big time players. But then there's also some guys on the team who are like, they're there, but I don't know if they're all the way in. But if we when we hand out sandwiches, game days with like turkey with bacon, they're gonna grab like 2 sandwiches, which is fine.
They call them sandwich grabbers.
It's not kind of sandwich grabber, but in the middle,
not just like not contributing, but taking 2 sandwiches.
Wait, should they be just taking one then ideally because they're not contributing?
Yeah, exactly. It's like
Yeah.
I don't know, like you're taking, not giving. The ratio's a little off. So some of the middle of my roster is just kind of like, right? And Phil, he still made it interesting, obviously, with Gibbs and
Oh
Andrews
yeah, that
out of nowhere.
Was that a Monday night game with Gibbs?
Sunday night, maybe.
With Andrews,
Yeah.
it was
Monday.
So Andrews was Andrews was the one that was kind of interesting. Gibbs playing great.
Yeah.
Alvin Kamara, like that was kind of honestly Joe Burrow until maybe like 5 minutes to go in the game had like single digit points and just kind of came out of nowhere. That was helpful for him. But yeah, anytime you get a guy like Devontae Smith, like you're expecting big things for him to not get a point, right? Reed as well, like that's tough. I think that hurt him a lot. Kind of down week for him. Other than Gibbs and Andrews, I mean, 14 points for defense is pretty good.
Well, Kamara not coming in hot with those like typical, big games.
I was going to say Montgomery went down in that Lions game too, which opened the way for Gibbs, to pretty much get all the carries, right? Yeah.
Wow.
And Montgomery might be, he could be out for a bit potentially.
So you think that he's gonna get a lot more touches? It looks like he still is getting, the same snap percentage, but maybe just red zone touches that he wasn't getting.
Right. Yeah.
Was Montgomery kind of that guy?
Yeah.
See, 230.
Montgomery's the bigger back.
Yeah.
He's getting the ball in the red zone.
They called on Wednesday ahead of week.
Okay. So I guess he maybe just like, had a strain or something like that, or
knee contusion. So it's just like
yeah.
They're just gonna give him some.
Just got banged up, kind of
something.
Yeah. So he might play. Okay. Yeah, but yeah, that definitely paved the way for Gibbs to have that big game for you, Nick, for sure. Yeah, that was a good win, man. And then what happened with Phil's team? I mean, he's got a lot of single digits over there. It looks like.
Yeah, I mean, who's that? Joe Burrow. I mean, obviously that's a bit of an underperformance. If you look at, I mean, Phil won his first 4 games, and everybody was like, okay, this guy's a juggernaut right now. No one can stop him. But then now he's lost the last 3 games. And, he's, posted in the chat. He's taking a look in the mirror. He's a little bit confused. He's trying to gather his thoughts. But,
him and I both, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, right here, so 113, a lot of underperformers, like obviously Kamara. I don't know, was he taken out? Like he only played half the game. So that's not something that, I mean, is he? So he'll probably be back this week. But that's a contribution to a low score. And then this really hurts. Devonta Smith with 0.8 points.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened there.
Their offense is kind of weird. It's not.
Yeah.
2 targets, 1 catch for -2 yards. Jalen, I don't know what was going on in that game, if he was just not distributing the ball. It looks like they threw significantly less than normal.
Was the weather?
Were they up? Maybe they went up.
Yeah, they were up. Yeah, because the Giants barely scored. I think they only scored like 8 points from the game. So maybe they never felt like they had to.
On the ground.
Yeah, right.
And then of course it just seems like everything went wrong the same week for him. I don't think this is going to be moving forward a big trend. I don't have that much confidence in Andrews. Like if you look at this, it's just like 3, 9, 0, 0. But now he's ramping into some crazy stuff. I don't know what's going on. But he never gets more than, 4 or 5 targets at best. And, so it's really week to week how he's going to perform. But all in all, I think Jordan Mason, he's kind of getting phased out. He's not going to get, especially once McCaffrey comes back. And but I think Phil will bounce back, and he'll start to get a rhythm. But I don't know if he's going to rise to the top with some of the other guys we got going here. Any final thoughts, Nick, on that?
Nope.
Johnny, any final thoughts on that one, Johnny, Nick, and Phil?
Nick and Phil. Yeah, I mean, I think 113. It doesn't really deserve a win, right? I mean, it could get you a win depending on who you're playing, but yeah. So I mean, I think usually typically 120 plus should get you a win, and that was Nick was able to get that this week. I think it was good. I do think Nick's going to go on a run here for a little bit. I mean, next week I saw he's got a winnable game. Let's see who you're playing this week, right? You got Traco this week, right? And it looks like you're projected to win this one. So, yeah, excited to see what happens.
So, I mean, to be fair for Phil, he's only scored under 130 twice, and that was week 1 and week 7. So he also lost week 5 to me with 151 points, and he lost to Traco with 132 points. So I don't know. Maybe I take that back. Maybe Phil actually, he's got a lot of gas in the tank. We could still be, seeing him as a tough one. Moving forward. Okay. Johnny and Traco.
All right, let's do it.
This was tough. I mean, Johnny, you're.
Before we go into that, Ava's wants to say something real quick. Say it. Come on, the is yours.
How's it going, Ava?
My daddy's going to crush you in this.
Oh wow!
Burn!
Well, we
actually. And he's gonna crush you all through the thing, and then he's going to win.
Wait, we can't really see you. We got to see your
I didn't
face.
even tell her to say that.
Ava, so what happens if he doesn't? What's the wager? If he loses, what does your dad have to do?
Are you bringing a take?
I'm going to make him listen to me for the whole day.
Oh, all right. That sounds like a good punishment.
And that's going to be a lot of fun.
Okay, well, we'll hold him to it.
I didn't even tell her to say that. She just knows. I guess I'm out for blood.
Well, yeah, all right. We'll get to that one.
Okay, so I think Traco got a little lucky this week. I kind of shot myself in the foot, I put Tank Dillon there kind of last minute. I think it was like Saturday or something like that. I was looking through the matchups. I don't know. I think it was that whoever the Texans were playing, what I was kind of anticipating, it showed them as having a high or giving up a lot of yards to receivers. So I don't know. I kind of threw him in there, and I benched Metcalf. I benched Metcalf because the Seahawks had lost 3 games in a row, and they were going on the road to Atlanta. I was just kind of thinking, like, hey, the wheels might be falling off this. It's like a rookie head coach, and, they could lose again.
That literally would have been the game for you. I mean,
exactly. Yeah. Metcalf had a great day, 20 points, and then I could have started the other tight end. I mean, Kincaid's been pretty consistent, at least getting like 8-9 points, but I picked up the tight end from Green Bay, and he's been putting up some decent points the last couple weeks. So I think I'm going to start him against you, Darin, and see how that goes. But I think this week I would have beaten where's it at? I would have beaten like Josh, Austin, obviously Tyler because he had a bad week, but I would have beaten Phil. Maybe would I have beaten Nick? Yeah, by a point. Mm-hmm. I would have beaten Nick by a point. So it still had a good showing. I think my team's still all right. I think it'll still make the playoffs, but it might just not be a bye week at this point. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, everything is still so in the air. Nobody's really pulling apart. It's only like 2 win separation for the majority of the teams.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So it's anyone's game, and really it's like with everybody kind of beating each other and losing to each other. Who knows? Nick, if he can get to 500 or close to it, Nick may even have a shot at goal. So, Nick, any thoughts on this? I know that recently you've been like way more dialed in and the waiver activity and just kind of upping your fantasy level of not only engagement but probably like education. So I'm curious your thoughts here.
I mean, it's the first thing that jumps out to me is that you win a matchup convincingly and you get 5 points from your quarterback. But
Right.
Oh wow.
I mean,
That's true. He could have scored a lot more potentially there.
but
Yeah.
but 30 points from a kicker in the defense is like a huge. That's just like a huge bonus. It's interesting to see coup for Johnny, who's like highly regarded as like one of the best kickers, to come away with 1 point there.
Right.
Pretty unusual for him.
Yeah.
Not that he was exactly like when you look at his track record. I mean, honestly, when I open this up in my app on my phone and all I see is Johnny's first 4 guys come up with, 80,
good
83
points.
points. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, we're doing good. And then just, again, that middle, Johnny's got some sandwich grabbers, man, and like
sandwich grabbers.
and they need to really ask themselves, like, if they're really contributing enough.
Are they in or out?
Like, like they're doing a lot of taking, not a lot of giving. But if you look at his bench, he probably has the bench of the week when it comes to points.
For sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
A lot of points on the bench, which is a good thing long term, just not this week. And still, like you said, 126. So like, not terrible. There's always going to be hindsight 2020. I should have started this guy over that guy. I mean, your dudes got to be dudes, and for the most part, like, his dudes were dudes.
Yeah.
Everson, Jacobs, Williams, Allen, like, they've got to be the guy, and they all were. It's just that, like, the next guy's up.
I'm gonna give Bucky Irving a shot this week. He's had 3 weeks in a row with a touchdown, I think. And he was like the second running back to start the season, and now he's first. I don't know if that's because of injury or maybe or he's just playing well. But rookie,
Rookie out of Oregon, Bucky. They call him Bucky Swerving up there.
Bucky
I mean,
Swerving.
Traco knows about him, probably. Unfortunately, sorry, Traco.
Yeah, nice. Okay, but then I guess for Traco, I mean, honestly, he could have had way more points and blown me out of the water. Like, he had a receiver with just like less than 2 points, and then CJ Stroud. I mean, a weird game. Like, they only lost by 2 points, and it's not like it was a single digit game, but only 5 fantasy points. Kind of weird there. Not even hitting 100 yards passing.
I mean, you look at it, you can see they're throwing significantly less this game than typical. I mean,
I don't know if it was raining or windy that day in Green Bay. It's getting to late October here, but
well, then in Indiana they have them projecting at 16 points versus this typical.
That's an indoor game. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure how the matchup is there, but yeah, typically he's holding his weight, and you can just kind of depend on him. It looks like he got sacked a decent amount of times, so maybe he was getting a lot of pressure in the pocket, and they just couldn't get the ball off. But I don't think I watched that game super in depth. So
yeah,
I mean,
but good win for Traco though. Regardless, hey, was that 4 in a row, or what was he? Was he 0-3, or I'm trying to remember what happened there.
Yeah, so he's been climbing the ranks here. If we look at his kind of track record as of late, he's I mean, he started out with 2 losses, then won 2 in a row, 1 loss to Kevin, and then he's won last. Then he beat Philip, and then he beat you. I mean, he's kind of picking off some of these top teams. He's got Nick this week, which will be interesting because, I mean, he's been putting up
145 points 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of a little concerning, for a guy that can consistently, or for the rest of the group, because consistently putting up 145, you're going to win games.
Yeah.
Josh Downs, like, that was abnormally low. Not much. Not many targets. Looks like he might have.
Colts receivers are a gamble, because like he's the quarterback Richardson's kind of running the ball a lot, and he hasn't been passing for a lot of yards.
Look at this. I mean, Traco's been starting him. It's like projected 8 points, but he puts up 22. Projected 10, but he does 15. Projected 9, but he does 20.
Actually, those 3 games are really good.
I mean, that I have to give it to the team manager for kind of knowing your personnel, putting that guy in, even though he's projecting single digits. And then, of course, this kind of does really well for you. I don't know how many games he's winning just with this guy. Looks like he's pretty normal for the most part. And then, same with Philly. So we'll see. I don't know if he's swapping guys in and out, but much respect, especially with Rashid Shaheed down. He still pulls out a win here. Yeah. So he's got he's got some guys coming back from injury. Olave, swapping defenses, it looks like. Mm-hmm. So it'll be interesting to see. I mean, he's definitely making a run at this point, trending to playoffs and, starting to trend toward like the, top third of the pack for sure. So yeah, right, Tyler versus Kevin. Just about everything went wrong on the same day for Tyler. It's like I've never seen all red across the, like I don't know what happened.
What happened with Debo? He left the game.
Well, yeah, and if you look at whose bench is just all injuries, by the way, was that maybe Josh's? Real quick, we'll get to Josh's game, but I just want to look at this. It's like I think it was his. Somebody is just all out. I forget who it was, but we'll go back to Tyler. But yeah, I mean, Mahomes, he dropped Mahomes for Purdy, which is not a bad move, but that was his first overall pick. Right? Yeah. You quarterback first overall.
Kind of went wrong there.
Not a super like fantasy football type thing to do typically. Of course, he was, on date night, so that's his out.
I know we had that date reserved, Tyler, well in advance before that date took place.
And then you got high hopes for Mozart coming back, which I don't blame you, but they're struggling really bad.
They're gonna need Tua, because it's like without Tua in there, they're just loading up on the run, and they know what's coming.
Debo, did he just get hurt like in the beginning of the game?
That's what I was saying. Yeah, I think he did. Yeah, leave the game without getting a catch. Yeah.
So
that's they were down. They kind of in that game. They kind of just had they lost Ayuk too, and they kind of just had Kittle and the backups in there. And that was a tough one for Purdy. Then Jalen Williams or Jameson, he's had some games where he scored 20, 15, everything. So that's kind of an odd performance for him to get less than a point.
Yeah, I think the name of the game for Tyler right now is like, how do you kind of pick up from here? Because he's just been trending, hovering around that, low 100 mark. But I mean, just in the waiver wire today, he grabbed 1, 2, 3, 4 guys. So, he's got now Brock Purdy and Russell Wilson and Juwan Jennings, which I don't know if Juwan Jennings is expected to do that much for the Niners with, I don't know. I mean, you've got, it sounds like Debo's going to be there. Ayuk's going to be there. Even Parsons or whatever, he's back.
Ayuk, I think Ayuk's out for the year.
Oh, Ayuk's out. Okay. So maybe that's the thought there.
ACL.
And then Jamal Williams, he picked up, which he's been a double-digit guy, 2 touchdowns this last game, which brought him to 26. I don't know how consistent there, but I hope he kind of lands on some guys that he can count on to be double digits in the green. And Rashad White, I don't know. Guys are just like not really trending consistently for his team, so maybe he's trying to get a handle on that. Any thoughts on Kevin? I mean, Kevin's another guy who it's like he had A.J. Brown out. He also had Cooper Kupp out. And this coming week, he's going to have Kupp. He already set
the
his
Jets
lineup.
Defense got him nothing. Wow, yeah.
I mean, this was a guy that wasn't setting his lineup day.
Yeah, like it's still winning.
And now I check his roster and it's like, Tuesday and his lineup's already set. He's already swapped guys in and out coming for the game. He probably secretly is watching this podcast, the moment it gets released in his office. But I mean, Derrick Henry's been. Did you guys watch that game?
I did. Yeah, great game. Yeah.
169
yards. Wow.
So I'm here in Nashville, Tennessee. Most of you guys know that. It's it's actually been this weird phenomenon that like you come to the Titans, and then when you leave the Titans, then you just take off. So AJ Brown and both, him and Derrick Henry,
Yeah.
They're taking off. Like that was the best thing that ever happened to AJ. I mean, he's
wow, yeah,
true.
driving
Yeah.
out there, and
who
he
else
missed
did they have? Who else did they let go of? I'm trying to remember. Defensively, they had some players, right, that they let go of. Yeah.
Your guy from Seattle, the safety, came out here and he was like, "I'm out of here."
Oh yeah, Jamal Adams. That's right. Yeah. And then they get Diggs too. I think they got Diggs out there.
Yeah, and then they just got rid of D Hop to the Chiefs.
Right. That'll be interesting.
But yeah, I mean, you go between Hurts, Henry, and AJ Brown. I mean, I know this is fantasy football, but in real football, if that was your QB1, your RB1, and your wide receiver 1, I mean, what are you gonna do? Load the box? I mean, it's just like he's got talent.
Yep. Yeah,
his guys are guys. His guys
are
guys.
With Henry,
sandwich grabbers there.
Man, with Henry, I feel like if you're watching like the Gladiators, it's just like that's what they would look like almost, like or just like the Greek,
Yeah, he was. Nick sent like a clip in the chat or to me and my brother, and it was just like the Manning brothers talking, and they're like, if you hear them, they're like, they were just. I want to see him give the ball to Derrick Henry again, just to watch people run away from him.
Yeah,
the DBs were hoping that they would get blocked. That's
right. He get blocked, so then they can.
Look, after that, I was like paying attention, and they look hesitant. He's like kind of straddling the sideline, and they're like, "Just go out of bounds, dude."
Yeah,
like
hopefully they don't just square him up and tackle him. And it looks like Zeus out there running.
Yeah, he looks like a creative player or something.
Yeah, exactly. That's I think of like Hercules or something, dude. It's just the neck. Yeah.
And personally, I thought he was old news fantasy wise. Like I didn't think because Nick had him last season, and I think
and he was okay. Yeah, he was okay.
Yeah, look at that. It's like later in the season it picked up, but it was just like really inconsistent. And then, it's just like double digit singles. So,
but I guess last on Kevin, it wasn't a great score overall, 109. Like, depending if he played me, like I would have won or some other people, but still, his team's looking good, and letting the snake in the room there, Darin, a little bit. Also he was like, oh, Kevin, we can write him off, or that'll be a win, and then all of a sudden now he's third in the league. Real quick though, we should add up. So like, just play for fun. Like if Tyler started Rashard White over, let's say, like Williams, right? That gets him another 29 points. That gets him to that gets him to 94. And then if he would have started the tight end Otten over,
it looks like
Laporta,
Tyler,
that would have given him what? That gave him another 15. That might have been.
He was capable
right
of 119.
there.
He was capable of 119 this week, and to be just consistent about looking at it. If you look at Kevin's points, he's 5-2, but he's at 887, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The 6th top ranking scorer. So he's 6 by points, but he's 3 by record in points. So it's like he has had some matchups, just that he just lucked out in the draw. So still more to be seen. I still think things are getting ironed out, and this is not like the trend line. Like this isn't how folks are going to finish. So
let's go to Ian here in Austin.
Yeah.
Let's see. So Ian had a good week. 137 points. That should win, 90% of the time typically, right?
Yeah.
And I'm a little jealous of how he picked up Baker Mayfield still, and he's just been tearing it up. And that's proof right there that you don't necessarily have to draft a quarterback.
Right.
In the draft, right? You can pick one up. It's double down on the receivers and the running backs. I feel like it's almost the strategy. Unless you can get a top tier guy.
Number 2 QB, number 2 overall. So that
he is just lighting it up, dude. Look at those numbers. Yeah.
Right.
And then he's got Barkley. We talked about it in an earlier podcast. So his team had some up and down performances, but the core of the team was really strong. And that he's definitely should be one of the people in top consideration for the podium there. And yeah, 5-2. I mean, shoot, I'm definitely not podium material at the moment. So yeah, I'd put him up there in the top third.
But
Go ahead.
then you look at this kind of midsection where, I mean, Neighbors has been balling out, and he's coming back from injury. I don't know. I didn't watch this game fully, so I don't really know what happened. But I mean, the targets were just excessive. Weeks 3, 4, and 5.
What's his injury?
Yeah.
I just struggled. I don't.
Well, I mean, like, because he missed those 2 games there.
He had a concussion.
Oh yeah.
Concussion. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, could you imagine being a receiver on the field and getting the ball thrown your way 18 times? Like, that would
be wild. As a rookie too, he's coming out. Yeah. He's coming in as the number 1 guy as a rookie. I mean, unfortunately, the team hasn't been very good. But he's going to keep getting the targets on the ball. So yeah, he's definitely a flex start for sure.
Yeah.
Maybe a number 1 receiver, but
so
yeah.
Yeah, but then Zay Flowers
kind of underperformed there.
Underperformed. So he's Ertz big game.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it was just an off week for Ian, and I mean Mike Evans is out. So
right, he got hurt halfway through. Yeah, like in the second quarter or something like that.
Yes, he had a couple big games, but I guess isn't a big deal anymore.
Brian Robinson from the Falcons. Oh no, he's got B.J. Robinson. Okay, I thought it was Brian Robinson, but Bijan, yeah. Kind of a slow start to the year, but yeah, last 2 weeks, 20+ points.
He's hiding him down on his flex, I think, intentionally, because I mean, look at that's your number 1 or 2 back, because who does he have here? Or he has Barkley. So yeah, he's trying to just like play mind games and put him down in the flex, but that's really his number 2.
His bench doesn't have much. I mean, I guess Njoku, but Njoku hadn't had a big game really this year. That was his first big one.
Right.
Oh, what's that?
Yeah, Nick, thoughts on Austin, and you saw him last year, finished number 2 in the league, and you got to hang with him too the other day.
Yeah, it was good. He came over, but in terms of his fantasy, I mean, this week, it's good to see Chase do well, because it's almost one of those deals where it's like, that was those first couple games there where he was, he was okay, and then obviously burst onto the scene. You see that 41-point game is not, but you expect him to. I mean, 17. It's like, okay, that's almost like you expect him to get that or more. But other than that, some of these guys, like I think so many people were high on Marvin Harrison Jr., but you just never know with a rookie receiver or rookie in general. But
and he was the number 1 drafted receiver in his draft class, and
I mean, he had those 2 games there. I mean, 17 and 29, but I mean, there is some talent. His team's not bad, but
he's just not getting the ball enough to.
That was my concern with him, was just like that. Yeah, with Kyler, he's not. He's not like throwing it all over the field every game. He's running around a lot, and it's not. As being a receiver in that offense is tough. Like you're not getting a consistent thing week in, week out. But hey, I'm sorry. I gotta start getting. I'm gonna have to put the kids to bed. Maybe let's do your game. Let's jump to your game real quick, Darin, so I can give my quick thoughts on it. And I probably gotta run.
Well, we'll get more to Austin, a little bit later, next week as well. But yeah, I mean, some of these guys were looking pretty tasty in the beginning of the season, and have just been inconsistent. I haven't seen as much activity on the waiver wire. I think he's going to have to swap some things out if he wants to see this change. All in all, though, he has had the 2nd most points scored against him, and he's been scoring a lot of points. So,
122 is a good. Yeah, that's a tough loss.
More likely, he should kind of be that 5 spot, 6 spot.
He should be in my spot. Gotcha. Yeah. All right. Let me give my thoughts and yours real quick, and then I might need to jump. Okay, so I think I don't know. I think you're pulling some strings internally, Darin, or something's happening. You're doing something behind the scenes there that we don't know about for this turnaround here. But yeah, I mean, man, Lamar Jackson's definitely panning out for you. It's like MVP season again, right? You know, I mean, and that was
man.
at first. I think it was the first 2 games, right? No, the first game was decent, good. Second game not so much, but man, yeah, he's been amazing. So it's like, and all signs are that's going to continue.
4 and 5
pretty
TD
much.
games, like passing for 4 and 5 touchdowns.
Yeah.
I mean,
he just doesn't lose to the
wild.
NFC, yeah. So you're in good hands there, and then Breece Hall's been good, although the Jets have been kind of stinking it up. You didn't really have anybody lay a stinker. I guess Freiermuth, who he got cut. You cut him right after he scored less than 10 points. Apparently, it's pretty cutthroat there.
Well,
but,
yeah, I had my eyes on another tight end, Komet, that I think he got dropped and he started trending up. So
I dropped him. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. But I'm hoping, since you had such a big week this week, that you'll totally go the other way and kind of fall flat and reduce next week and lay a 110 or something like that. So that's what I'm hoping.
Dude, but look at my bench, even like Amari Cooper, who was struggling on the Browns.
Yeah,
he was their number 1 receiver, just got traded to Buffalo and pops off.
That is good.
And then Jacoby Myers, Devontae Adams just got traded from the Raiders over to the Jets, and so now he's the number 1 receiver. Nick Chubb back his first week, on the Browns.
And Jameis Winston's going to start. So I think, I am picking the Browns to win this week in my bets.
And then that was with CeeDee Lamb on my bench, dude. Like, he was
that's your number 1 pick. That's wild.
Yeah, man.
So
CeeDee Lamb on the
know.
bench, yeah.
All these guys have been consistently pretty, like Drake London. That was somebody I didn't expect to be that much of a producer this year. But I feel good about the roster. Anything can happen, but I mean, that's obviously a score I'm really excited about.
You want to stay away from that.
What are your thoughts on Josh, though? I know Josh.
I'll give him real quick. Yeah, Josh. Probably it's kind of a bad week. Bad week for him.
He went out. He got hurt.
Yeah, ribs.
Right.
Bruised ribs.
Yeah, I heard about it. Right, that's true. So he might have to find a new QB for this week, potentially.
And then Godwin officially placed on IR, and that was a guy that scored 35 points last week,
right, man. And he's been huge.
Can you imagine your QB1?
Oh, and then he had David Montgomery who went out too, man. So he had 3 players get injured in the game. Ooh. That is rough.
You can't win a game like that. Honestly, it was actually we were kind of like still fairly close before the Jaden Daniels game, and when he went out, it was just like done.
Yeah, right. If he would have scored 20 there, then that makes it close. But I think Josh will bounce back. He's going to be right there with me, probably fighting for that last 2 seed or so. Unless he just goes on a big winning streak. But even if he makes a couple, like some of his players finish the game, probably doesn't make up the difference to you, right? At 60 points.
It's just a tough. It's just tough to match up against 165 because that's like obviously an outline score.
But you guys pick the games. Let me know what you pick it, and I'll watch it. I gotta get it on the bedtime routine.
All right,
here.
Johnny, take care.
All right, see you guys.
See ya.
But yeah, I was just gonna say, kind of on Josh's game. Actually, if all these guys don't get hurt, he's probably in the 130, plus range, and he might have had a really big game. And so, Tua is coming back next week. I mean,
Tyreek Hill, man, 2 points, like
it's unheard of. Like that must be chaos in that locker room. Like imagine you're like last year, the number 1 fantasy producer in the league, I think, or second to McCaffrey.
Yeah.
And then this year it's like, this is a joke. Like
it's such a crazy. Yeah, you never know because, like, my bad to cut you off, but I was literally like, do I pick CMC or Tyreek Hill? Like, and it's like, which obviously that would have still been better than what I've gotten, but you never know year to year.
That's wild. So I think things change with Tua coming back this next week. I even picked up Tua.
I saw that.
Yeah, because sometimes I scour the IR and just see who's coming back within, range. And I think Tua is smart enough to throw him the freaking ball, or at least has the ability to. I mean, this is like pretty wild to me. Like, 2 targets to Tyreek Hill. Like, who's covering him? Like, tell me, who's locking him down? No one. Like, from player perspective, like, this dude's probably losing his mind. All the crap going to drama off the field. Like, you'd have to be in like therapy 4 days a week. Up in, if he was on the Rams, he'd be in Kevin's office, like,
Well, yeah, I know. It's funny you say that. Right before we hopped on this, like I saw someone on ESPN, and it was like Tyreek is so happy to have Tua back. Like they said, he connected on a couple deep balls today in practice, and he told him he was so happy he could cry, and he wants to take him and his wife. Tyreek wants to take Tua and his wife to dinner.
Well, dude, I mean, I don't even know when contract, talks are going on for him, but it's like his whole career is being effed right now because they can't get it. I mean, who was it? Huntley? Who was
exactly?
He just couldn't get it done. Like, I would be like furious. But Brock Bowers balling out, by far the best tight end this year. Excellent choice with a rookie. I'm not sure when he picked him up, but like, great eye on that. And everybody else has just been like really hit and miss. Even Butker was like actually projected to do really well, and just like
What about? So he's got who was that I saw? Bigsby. I think Bigsby. Click on him to see what he's done this season. He had him on his flex.
Oh,
right there. Yeah, I thought that was kind of like an anomaly, like to pop up. I know he had that 125-point game, but
I mean, that must have been some inside news about, running back must have been ETN. So ETN's out. So that must be just like a one game thing. So that
I mean,
to swap him out.
If Tyreek is Tyreek.
And he started out the games Thursday Night Football with Bigsby going 23 points in his flex, and he had a 20% projected win rate against me this week after Thursday Night Football, or maybe it was like early Sunday or something.
Yeah. But so wait, say that again. So like after Thursday, it was only 20% he was going to win.
Well, it was like 60-40 in favor of Josh after Bigsby's, put up 23 points in the flex. So I mean, he's got Kyler Murray on his sideline. I mean, Jaden Daniels kind of saved him after Tua went down. He's had a lot of luck getting decent QBs. He grabbed Kyler Murray from Ian, and Ian dropped him. Worthy, I just don't think this guy's coming back to do much, but I mean, I don't know. We'll see. That's Josh's call. But he's going to have to – I think he's going to have to tighten up on some of his depth now that all his guys are injured. Maybe propose a couple trades. But I think he can come back. It's just going to be a fight.
Yeah.
So, okay, so that's everybody for week 7. Let's just kind of briefly go through and chat through it. And then at the very end, we'll just call it winners and losers. So, off the cuff, any particular thoughts on what's happening, or we could call games. We'll call games week to week since Johnny's not here. So it's just me and you. So
all right. So talking about week 8.
Yeah, we got Austin versus Josh, who Josh is, questionable, IR.
Yikes.
I know. But Tyreek Hill's coming back with Tua, and they've put him up at 19 points projected. It's gone from, he hasn't had that since like week 2.
Yeah. I mean, Josh is just getting hit with the injury bug pretty bad. And looking at that, Bigsby. Yeah, I mean, I'm going with Austin in that matchup. Jamar Chase, could go off for 30 points. Like he's he's kind of getting to his groove. The Marvin Harrison Jr. piece, I don't know, but then again, I don't know what he would realistically, who he would swap him with. Maybe Pittman if he's healthy, but you just never know. Achan, like Dolphins in general are risky, but Josh has got Tyreek as well. Yeah, I'm going with Austin.
Okay, yeah, this is for me. This is a tough call because, Austin, man, he doesn't really have much of a. This is okay QB, but Achan, yeah, that's tough.
Yeah.
With Tyreek Hill, it's like, and Tua coming back, does that open up the box a little bit where they can actually run the ball as well and do kind of what Achan was doing, week 1 and 2? Look at that, 23, 29, and that's right when, Tua dropped out and everybody, like the entire team suffered. So I don't know, maybe these guys probably, X each other out, but
yeah,
who knows? Maybe Tyreek is just going to go off. Yeah, I think your call with the like Austin has just like a better roster, but Josh, I don't know, Bigsby, I don't know if that's someone who's gonna do it again. I think what hurts him is Worthy, Bigsby, and then Tracy looks like it's like very kind of opponent dependent how he does.
Yeah.
And then Montgomery, what's he doing? So that Montgomery could kind of bounce.
Yeah, he could do well, but Kyler Murray, like
this is super touchdown dependent though. Like obviously, like when he scores, he's great. When he doesn't, 9 attempts, that's scary. So yeah, I give it to Austin, but we can't count Josh out in my opinion. Bowers consistently doing well. I think he needs to get his players back from injury, and then he's right in there. But yeah, I give it to Austin too this week. Ooh, the Reaper versus Lone Star. So this is a really telling week for both teams.
Yeah.
Because it's like, okay, is this the new Nick? And he's going to go on, a win streak. And then also for Traco, where it's like, this is kind of the separation point of like either a top tier or you're 500.
Yep. Yeah, and that's been kind of like, this is just an interesting year in that so many teams are hovering around 500 in our league. So, I guess it just makes sense to just kind of add them right there at 4-4. I'm gonna pick me. The vibes are high. You got Jordan Love there going to Jacksonville, probably dices them up. I think Devontae Adams has a breakthrough game. Like he was, definitely Rodgers was definitely trying to target him, and
9 targets, but they just didn't really.
Yeah, but he got there on Tuesday. He's living with Rodgers.
That's right.
Like it's only a matter of time before they just literally watch film all week together. And, hey, this is what we're going to do here. At the Patriots, like I think he gets probably like double-digit targets, and so who knows there.
And you've got to think, what's his name? Aaron Rodgers is like fighting for his job at this point. Like,
it was legacy. He's like, I don't want to go out like this. And then I look at George Pickens, like playing the Giants on Monday Night Football. Like he's about to go off on them. I think. Like I know he hasn't done a whole lot, but that's with Justin Fields. Like it's a different setup. They're giving him the ball, at least opportunities down the field, which is huge for points.
Yeah, the targets is big. If they're trying to get on the ball, that's big.
And those types of targets are like, 3-4 fade balls. So, and then, I look at Traco and he's got a really solid, like Amon-Ra is about as solid as they get, for sure. And Higgins is pull up Higgins because I thought, it's been
He's been playing well. I mean, he was
playing
in
well.
the first 2 games,
But
for a number 2 receiver, it's like he outperforms Jamar Chase a lot of the games.
Yeah, that's a good point. And then Kenneth Walker for Seattle, like he does a pretty good job. Madison, anybody on the Raiders is just, Brock Bowers is doing well, but to me that could be a little questionable. Romeo Dobbs has been playing well as well. I mean, yeah, Eagles defense. I mean, I don't know.
So odds have it you're taking this game. You're calling yourself in this game.
Yeah.
I think for you, Stevenson is like he's kind of like a boost or a bust. Because he just tends to overperform or do not much. I think that's like a pretty telling kind of guy. I think, Aaron Jones, like if Aaron Jones hits, if Stevenson hits, Devontae Adams, I'm with you. I think it's like they have to make it work, and he's an athlete, and Aaron Rodgers could get him the ball. Like he's not. Yeah. It may not be perfect, but he's going to fight to get him the ball. I mean, if everything goes right for you, and then DJ Moore, it's like, this is a guy, he's consistently putting up decent points. Kelsey, it's like you have the guys. You actually do.
Even on the bench. I mean, you look at
Lockett, it's like if you want somebody that's not going to lose the game for you, like I'd expect 12, 13 points out of Lockett, or at least 10, which may be somebody to, stash in your flex. Like that's your kicker. So which even your kicker, bro, it's like you may shop around week to week if he's not. But I mean, these are exceptional points. He's always overproducing. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah,
I mean, I don't know why they're not giving him any credit for it. Like, I mean, I don't even know who the guy is, but he's doing well.
Yeah.
Shoot, dude. Yeah, you've got a squad that you've got. I mean, Traco does too. This one's a tough one. I think it's like kind of week dependent. Like, how do these guys do? I think his offense or his kicker and his defense are. I mean, his kicker's been going off. Dude, your kickers are balling out. I don't know about his defense, what to expect. That's like, trending around the 6-7 point mark. But, I mean, Amon-Ra, it's like he'll produce. Higgins is going to produce. Kenneth Walker, he's been exceptionally overproducing.
Yeah.
Everything's just been I respect that about Traco's game. It's like he's grabbing guys that aren't necessarily like at the top of people's list. Yeah. They're overproducing every game. So it's like, I don't know if it's his like, player intuition kicking in, but dude, I mean, looking at it, I would give it to Traco just based on trend. But if your guys hit, like this is just as much your game. So that'll be a really interesting one to watch. And obviously I hope that you boomerang back and get a line of sight to playoffs, because that would be a really wild
story.
Turn around. Okay, Phil versus Kevin. What are your thoughts here?
Oh, let me pull that up.
I mean, and keep in mind, Philip, he's went 4-0, lost 3 straight, going up against Kevin, who is just on a tear, but is actually not scoring maybe that many points in his wins.
And when I look at it, it's like a Cooper Kupp comes back. What does that mean? Is that like?
And he's already got them lined up. Oh, Thursday they play tomorrow. Shoot.
So he's got a first-person look at how he's doing.
I know. He was not waiting on that one. I'm telling you. I looked. It was like Monday or Tuesday, and he had already set his roster for this week. And he's going to be traveling with the team in Minnesota, I'm sure.
And then Phillips got Reed, who's questionable, limited in practice with an ankle at receiver. Like, that's tough. Alvin Kamara is limited in practice, hand and rib injuries. That one, I think, like, I know he plays running back, but hardly anybody hits him. Like, I actually think he could be okay there. But
I mean, a lot of those ones too, it's just them resting vets. I mean, what did you see? Because when I see questionable, if like
Yeah.
They were guys, even when I played in college, it's just like they gave them, what was the shot called again that everybody
Cortisone.
takes? Yeah, it was just like, get them cortisone, get them some painkillers, like unless it's like broken or torn, like guys are just suiting up, I don't know. So a lot of times, and I'm not saying that's the way to do it. I'm just saying a lot of times when I see the questionable, it's just typically it's just a vet trying to like recover and stay loose.
Yeah, this is interesting.
Andrews takes a dump, and if he doesn't, I'm pissed. Like, because
but it's like 8 points is this projected. Is it going to go that much lower than 8, if any? Like, I mean, I think Gibbs goes off against the Titans.
Oh shoot! Yeah,
Gibbs goes off, scores more than 15. But golly, Mason's what's up with Mason? What's his injury? It's that point in the year. Everybody's hurting.
Mason's the last 3 weeks has only done 8 points, so he's just not getting that many at bats, and I think that's because, I mean, yeah, what is it? Is it? I mean,
and then Garrett Wilson, like, is this the like, almost caught a hammy cramp right here. I think Garrett Wilson's production goes down a little bit, like, I mean, you got Devontae Adams' roommate.
Dude, they threw him the ball 23 times week 5.
I know that's, but look, like, he had 9 targets. It's still a decent amount.
Here's the one thing to consider though. Like sometimes when you only have one good receiver, it's just like you're force feeding the ball. But if you have a guy like Devontae Adams who pulls defense away from Garrett, sometimes it leaves them more open and they're able to produce.
Yeah, you know what? I hate to do it for my guy Phil, but I'm gonna go Kev, and just with one word and 4 letters in it, and that's King. Derrick Henry at Cleveland. At the Browns.
Game? Oh.
At the Browns, it's not a revenge. It's just like they are going to be up in the game and run the rock. He's going for 25.
Oh, because they're just gonna, they're not gonna need to put the ball in the air.
He's going 25. He's gonna go 26. 10 points over what his projected is. Give me Kevin on that one. Riding the horse with the king crown.
That's actually a really good point because my gut tells me Phil.
Yeah.
Because
he's due. He's due. Yeah, he's due.
I like everything about Phil except for Jordan Mason and Mark Andrews. I still have a bitter taste in my mouth. I just am not sure he's the guy. I don't know who gets. Look at this guy just hoarding tight ends. Get out of here. But no, I don't know. I don't know, Phil. You got to figure that one out. But like Derrick Henry, baller, Cup baller, AJ Brown baller, Kittle. This is where it's like if Kittle has a good game, which he's done all season. Yeah, this is a tough one to call. I mean, without Cup,
your picks are funny. If this guy goes off, then they win. If this guy goes off, with the people just want to know, what do you think?
So originally I was saying Cooper Street ballers, but I mean Cup, Brown, Kittle, Henry. You got to figure out your tight end situation, Kevin. Yeah. If he can figure out his tight end situation, this is his game. And I don't know that means he's going to pick a different tight end or if the guy just there's so many ballers on this team now. So just for the sake of, like, I've had Cooper Kupp in the past. If he's actually healthy out there, I mean, he's destructive. So I put it on Cooper Kupp. If Cooper Kupp goes off,
okay. So you go Kupp, I go King. But got it.
So we'll see what happens there. All right. Ian versus Tyler. This is kind of like one of those matchups where, where you guys get hurt feelings when everyone's just like thinking it's a landslide. What do you think, Nick?
I mean, it's definitely not a landslide. Um, I don't. I mean, I know I'm a Bay Area E40 keep the sneak, yada me going dumb guy, but like I'm not so sure Brock Purdy is the answer there from a fantasy standpoint. Um, I mean that stadium's going to be full of Cowboy jerseys in Santa Clara for sure. But
I think they're playing in Dallas, huh? This week.
I think is it at Dallas? No, it should be home.
Okay.
Yeah. But honestly, Dallas is playing worse at home, so than they are on the road.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that matters. And then I mean Javonte Williams, like he had that one big like I dropped him, and then he had that one big week. You know, like I don't know. Will he repeat that? Carolina would be the team to repeat it against. I'll tell you that. Rashad White.
Yeah, that's true.
McLaren,
I mean, dude,
like,
they've had a rough go.
Like Terry McLaren, like who's throwing him the ball? Marcus Mariota. Like I mean,
which Mariota he came in.
He did well. He did well.
Yeah, I mean, he seemed to be like holding his weight. Look at that, dude. I mean, 2 TDs, put up 20 points. Hey, maybe there's a QB here for somebody to snag.
This is a tough one. I'm gonna go. Okay, Packers. You got the Ravens. You got Aubrey. You know, Stephon Diggs. You'd like to see a little bit more, huh? I mean, yeah, he had that 19. Yeah, he's had a couple good weeks, but he's like your guys got to be guys like all the time, right?
Yeah,
he's a guy. You would think. Rashad White.
Let's hear it, bro.
Oh yeah, I'm going Ian. I can't get behind Purdy and Javonte Williams as like we're gonna lead into the charge with those guys. Whereas like Barkley, like 15 as the projected, like I think he surpasses that. Mayfield 15 as the projected, I think he surpasses that. Hubbard's probably there. Neighbors is probably around there.
Neighbors maybe
he could go up,
after,
right?
Yeah, he could go up here.
Njoku, like some of these are question marks. Lazard, I mean,
what? Yeah, no, I think on paper this is a really close game, and it could go either way. But historically, Ian is putting up like really big numbers.
Yeah,
I mean, 170, 146. Then he has 2 down weeks, 108, 98. I don't know what happened there, injuries or something. And then it's 152, 150, 137. So, like, you can't, like, those are winning scores, and he's always won when he's got those scores.
Yeah.
For that reason, I'm going Ian. But Tyler, I think, you know, it's not as bad as it seems for you because you still got guys, and you're staying nimble. So there's hope. There's hope. We're not out in you. But all right, so this is a big week for me, especially if Tyler somehow takes Ian out and you take out, or and then Philip takes out Kevin. That'd give me like the better record. But I mean, Johnny, I think he's lost like the last 3 games.
Yep.
He was a guy at the beginning of the season who won 3 straight, or he's lost the last 4 games. And I'm not really exactly sure why. Maybe Josh Allen just not producing, what we thought he would. And I almost regretted picking my QB over Josh Allen because, Lamar was like not showing it. Like Josh Allen came in the first week 31 points, and then 30 week 2, and I was like, oh crap, I got the wrong guy.
He's the right guy.
Yeah.
When I look at this, like sometimes you look at when they play. Justin Jefferson, it's SoFi, or in LA on a Thursday night. Like I do think he goes off. However, I think CeeDee Lamb does his thing. Like I think the Cowboys play the Niners well, even in San Francisco. I'm gonna pick you here, and I'm kind of looking at, there's a lot of matchups you can look at. I think CeeDee Lamb has a big day. It's the Cowboys. It's excellent. Like they're always in the media and always expected to do great things. They had a bye week, rested, recovered, comes back, goes for 20, 20 points or so by himself. So I think that's one of the keys here is like, you just put up all these points last week with CeeDee Lamb on the bench. I think he comes back. You're able to work off of that. I think Johnny makes it close with a big effort. After Thursday night's game, he's going to be out, and then you'll come back.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a fair assessment. This is the best lineup I've had to date because I feel like, Brees Hall, Mixon, like these guys, he's finally back in action. Look at that, 27, 26 points last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
CeeDee Lamb, he's been a consistent, he's been underperforming in my book.
Yeah. No, he has. I'm just thinking like he's due for a big game. I think like they're gonna like hype up the Niners Cowboys like rivalry of the '90s.
The thing that I think I'm excited about is like my flex guys, have produced pretty well, and I think that's hard to get on the spot. Like I have top ranking, running backs, receivers, and flex is doing. I'm taking myself on this just because look at this. It's like projecting almost 140 points. It's a big week. Obviously, things happen, but I feel really good about I'm making decisions between, guys projecting 13 and 12 points. It's and then this has been like the missing link for me as a tight end, and if I can get in the teens somehow, that's exceptional. So. Obviously, Johnny has the ability with Josh Allen, Jefferson, even Metcalf is, he has been up. He hasn't always been up, but Johnny definitely has the ability to deliver a beating.
Yeah.
Is it this week? I think I take it this week. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
Because I just feel like everything's supposed to hit this week, but any given Sunday, dude, this is like wild. If we look at the rankings and the standings here, it's just really, nobody's just pulling away from the pack. I will say I was first to 4 digits, like kind of points scored, first to 1,000, but not by much. There's a lot of other teams hovering right around that. Phillip, Ian, a lot of 900. So, it's anybody's league, and usually we say except for Nick, but I think this is kind of a turning point. It's a 14-week season. We're halfway through. So, there's a lot of losses to be delivered around the horn. I think everybody kind of hovers like plus or minus 3 games from like 500. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh.
But
shoot, man, it's
closing thoughts.
Thoughts? This is just interesting. Like, I know Johnny likes to talk about. Well, I'll end up probably at the 6th seed and the 5th seed. We have no idea of any of the seeds of playoffs, or whether that's the playoff bracket or the losers bracket. It's literally, I think, just going to be very week to week. Maybe by week 12, we'll kind of see where things are trending. But that's my thoughts are like, this is a week to week league. Last week was a very interesting week. A week from now, maybe it's telling us something, but it's probably telling us something we already know, which is that everyone's, kind of leveling each other out.
Yeah, there could be, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There could be 5 teams with a 4-4 record,
right,
potentially at the end of this week if they're not playing each other or whatever that matchup works out. And then and then all of a sudden, if there's losses here and there, it's like everybody gets pulled closer to the middle. So it'll be really interesting to see. Well, Nick, thanks for hopping on, man.
Yeah.
It was cool to hear, the football insight. Sounds like you're watching a lot of football this year because, you got a pretty good idea of, these matchups and who they're playing team-wise.
Yeah, I probably am watching a little bit more. I think last year I was watching football, but I wasn't, it was really the first year really playing fantasy. So I was seeing it from a different, not understanding fantasy as much. I mean, still, again, watching a ton and understanding football in and of itself. But this year has been different. And then, getting some tips on the pod and just seeing some of the trends and what's working and what other people are doing. So it's a copycat league.
Yeah, everybody's getting elevated.
Yeah.
Well, great to have you.
Yeah.
Awesome to hear that Ensworth is, balling out. Obviously, your kids are balling out.
Yeah.
So get some sleep, coach, and we'll kick off tomorrow night.
Sounds good.
Kick off
All right, man. Thanks for having me.
Darin and Johnny here, wow. Talking NFL, no doubt. Breakdowns and the standout. Big plays and the touchdowns. Huddled in the background. Each week we break it down. Our podcast is the town. Game day recap on the run. Darin, Johnny having fun. Tune in for the highlights, son. First down hit and we're done. From the field to the show. Touchdowns catching fire, yo. Every week we let it flow. Darin, Johnny's voice, with the stats and the plays. Sundays like a maze. Analysis amaze. NFL these new days. Yeah. Game day recap on the run. Darin, Johnny having fun. Tune in for the highlights, son. First down hit and we're done.